Aidan McDonough, he practiced today. When's this dude gonna get into the lineup? Because Tocchet kind of said like you got to fly in his parents, couple day warning. Rick Tocchet also mentioned that it's going to take like a actual full practice, right? This is a difficult thing. It feels like the way this team, I don't know. It's funny because we've heard the general manager, we've heard the coach. This is often talked about, even some of the players. This is an extended training camp.
Sure.
Training camp in my eyes is an option to try a lot of different things. Though right now it feels like they are doing it a little different of like, you have to play in the structure to be able to stick around and play every night in the lineup. That's a difficult thing for McDonough to hop into the lineup now because he hasn't had a practice. When do you think we're going to see this guy in the NHL?
I think it might not be until next week. I think they do want to get him some real practice time, get him used to the system, get him used to the speed. That's the number one thing. When we talked to McDonough today, he was talking about how even just these game day skates are faster than college hockey. And so that speed is something he's going to have to get used to. I found it really fascinating how he was getting this one-on-one work, or rather two-on-one, with Daniel Sedin and Yogi, their skills coach. He was working with them on very specific things along the boards, working to protect the puck and to create space coming off the boards, little cutbacks. And he talked about how the Sedins had been working with him all year long.
Yeah.
Like sending him video, watching his games and sending him clips of his own games and just going over different things. He talked about how at one point he said that he had a terrible game. Like he was just so like upset and with how he had played, and he got an email or text, whatever it was, from one of the Sedins saying, here's a thing we really liked about that game. And it just immediately lifted him up. Like he's like, oh, like even in this game where he felt like he had a horrible game, they pointed out, here are the things you did well. And it just completely changed his perspective. He's like, okay, I can work on those things and I can keep doing those game after game. And when I have a good game and I'm getting those details right, that good game is going to become a great game.
Yeah.
You know, like I think it's really fascinating to see how they're working with him and developing him. And I'm really excited to see when he gets in the lineup. The speed is going to be another step up when he goes to a full practice from a game day skate, and then even more when he gets into a game. And so that's going to be the real challenge for him, is handling NHL game speed, because he isn't the fastest skater. But you could see what they were working on him with was that protecting the puck down low along the boards. That's where he can use his strength. He doesn't have to be the fastest, most explosive skater in those situations if he can build off of that. And he talked about how it's all technique. It's all technique and how you're angling your skates, how you're protecting the puck, how you're moving with your check. And if he can do that and do the kind of things that the Sedins are working on him with, he can create space to use his shot.
Yeah.
Even without having that game-breaking speed or even above average NHL speed.
I thought it was funny because I remember talking to Ati Ratu when he first got to Abbotsford, and he was like, listen, like the Sedins weren't the fastest guys ever, but like you can learn a lot from them. I'm curious if McDonough's in that same kind of boat of like, hey, these guys, I know it was a different time and the NHL's definitely gotten a lot faster since the Sedins were playing, but there are certain things that the Sedins can absolutely give you for tips to help if you aren't the quickest and the fleetest of foot. I also, like, there's been a lot made of the Patrick Allvin visit right after the World Juniors. It's a monumental time that people have talked about over the last little bit here, with McDonough being visited by Patrick Allvin. I really think hearing that, hearing McDonough, that is, talk about, you know, being able to deal with the Sedins for development, that's huge. I really think that adding the Sedins has been, like, it's really been massive for these players, whether it just be like morale or actually just like developing and keying in on just like developing your game, like whatever it is. I just think the all around thing that they're bringing to this team is massive. And with the McDonough situation, you have to give, I think, the most props out of this organization for getting him signed, making him feel comfortable with the Vancouver Canucks. It's Ryan Johnson. It's 100% Ryan Johnson in my eyes, who has been the steady guy in this organization throughout McDonough's time since being drafted by the Vancouver Canucks. He's always been a consistent voice over the 4 years that he had at Northeastern. As much as you want to make about this big Allvin, well, I'm sure it made a difference. I'm sure the visit made a difference, but to me, it's Ryan Johnson. This is a good job from Ryan Johnson through and through to get this done.
And when you hear, but even just when you hear it, like the Sedins have been constantly working with me over the past year, sending me video and stuff Of course he wants to come to the Vancouver
yeah.
Canucks. You have 2 Hall of Famers working with you on like the details of your game. Like that's a way to build loyalty.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about a player who could have gone into the summer, become a free agent, and signed with any team, but instead he went, you know, these people, this team, Ryan Johnson heading it up, have worked with me day by day and helped me improve my game. I owe it to them. You know, like that makes a huge difference.